This is Jimmy, and today we're going to be doing a benchmark kind of. Do you really need 3 graphics cards, or do you really need Crossfire, period? And I don't know. I think I do. 3 cards for me is kind of necessary. I run Infinity, and I like to play my games on the highest settings. I can play Crisis 3 Ultra on Infinity with FXAA turned on, and I get about 70 to 80 FPS, which is like uber playable. So, yeah, we're gonna start with 1 card on Unigine Haven, and then Valley, 2 cards, and then 3 cards. We'll do those in 1080p first, just 1 monitor, and then we'll do Infinity, 1 card, 2 card, and then 3 card. I'm not going to take them out, I'm just going to turn Crossfire off. And we'll keep the settings reasonable. I'm not going to do like the extreme uber stupid shit with like tessellation cranked. So yeah, we're going to start off with Haven, and let's start 1080p, and then I'll come back with the results. Oh yeah, and by the way, I'm going to have all my cards overclocked to the max, 1300 on the core voltage, 1200 on the core, and 1500 on the memory, which doesn't really affect until I start doing triple monitor. But for now, this is, yeah. And I'll turn Crossfire off, and we'll do the first test on Unigine Haven, 1 card. So at 1080p, we got a score of 1143.7 FPS on average. This is the settings I will be used as 4 times anti-aliasing, because most games only have 4 times anti-aliasing. I'm trying to keep it realistic here without actually making my own benchmarks. And then I have the tessellation on moderate, and then the quality obviously on ultra. Now see, it's still showing 3 cards, but I only have 1 enabled. So yeah, we'll do the Valley benchmark now, and I'll be back with that in a second. So guys, for the Valley benchmark, we got a average FPS of 49.7, and you can hear my graphics card just loud as leaf blower. And then we got a score of 2080, minimum FPS of 21.4, and a max FPS of 93.3. We are using 4 times AA, 1920 by 1080, full resolution, ultra quality detail, overclocked graphics card. So, this is what we get with this card, single card. Now we're going to start doing dual card 1080p, and then we'll get the performance there. Cards 1080p, 4 times AA, ultra quality, tessellation is on moderate. We got a FPS average of 79.2, and a score of 1996. That's more than playable, especially for a program this demanding. And yeah, now we'll do Valley and see what we get on there. Weird, this one actually got a less frames per second average than let's see, Haven did on the second test. 2 cards, 79.2 and a 68.9. And my lens are dirty, hold on. And a score of 2884, a max FPS of 120.8, and then a minimum of 18.7. We're still doing 4 times AA full screen. The present, that just means I have it on 4 times instead of 8 times anti-aliasing. The quality on ultra like always, because what PC gamer doesn't want to play on ultra? And this is 2 cards, and I'll write that down, and we'll start doing 3 cards in 1080p. Now we got a ridiculous score with 3 cards of 109.0 flat FPS, 2746 is the score, still running 4 times anti-aliasing, ultra quality and the moderate tessellation, and 3 cards, 1080p. And let's go see what the Valley benchmark is now, and then we'll start doing surround. This is odd. It turns out that Valley actually runs worse with 3 cards at 1080p than it does with 2. So this was a score of 67.4. FPS of 67.4. I guess that's what we care about. Score of 2818. And as you can see, 1080p, 4 times AA, Ultra, la la la. You can see that all 3 cards are active. And yeah, it definitely is not a CPU bottleneck, guys. My CPU's, it says it's running at 4515, but it's running at 5.3. I've always had mine running at 5.3. And yeah, so I guess now it's on to Eyefinity mode, and we'll start off with 1 card, and we'll see what happens on Valley and then Haven. Eyefinity, 1 monitor, or shit, 1 card. 1 card, you get a frame rate of 19 on average, and a score of 765. For 5760 by 1080, I'm using only 2 times anti-aliasing in the Ultra. Why 2 times? Well, because even my 3 gig cards, 3 of them, my 3 gig cards will not have enough memory to run 4 times, I think, anti-aliasing. In a real-world scenario, on this game, it only uses about 1300. I saw it get up to 1500. So if I crank that to 8, it'd be around 2200. And I know for a fact that Battlefield 4 without anti-aliasing on 1080p uses about 1900 to 2000 on Ultra. So yeah, real-world scenario. If you're running Eyefinity, I wouldn't even want to run, anti-aliasing because it just makes it feel slower. So yeah. There's a score for that, and we'll go to 2, or now we'll go do Haven, and then we'll see what we get there also. Astounding 19.2 FPS, holy crap, that's so playable. Just kidding. I used 2 times anti-aliasing on this one too, tessellation moderate and ultra quality. And yeah, so now let's move to 2 cards, and let's see what we can get with that, well, with those. Get it? Ha. Again, going from 1 card to 2 cards, you go from literally a not playable experience to somewhat playable. We jumped from 19 FPS to 32.4. As you can see, we're still using the same settings, and this is with 2 GPUs. And now we're gonna go do Haven with 2 cards, Eyefinity, just to make sure. And we'll see what we get there. Or Crossfire with 2 cards, Eyefinity. On Haven is a 34.6 average FPS with a score of why'd the program just exit? That's really weird. 872. As you can see, we're still running the same settings. Now we're going to move up to 3 cards, the ultimate test, and see if we can even hit the 60 FPS mark on either of these. I don't think it's going to. There's no way it's going to scale that much more, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, this is what you get with 2 cards on this benchmark. And with 3 cards in Eyefinity, you see little to no scaling. I actually think this is worse. Let's see, 1363... Okay, so it's a little bit better by 0.2 frames a second. Same setting. So this is the reason why I think the Valley benchmark doesn't do as good as the Haven is because this is the first version. Like, this is number 1. Like, it's called Valley benchmark 1.0 for a reason, and Haven is in its fourth stage. So it's I guess it's more geared towards multi-GPU benchmarking. That's kind of my take on it, but as you can see, it did not scale like at all, maybe 0.1% or even less, I don't know. So yeah, 3 cards in this benchmark, maybe, no, you don't. And real world scenario, most games, even till this date, I can't talk right now, still do not take advantage of more than 2 GPUs at most. So 3 GPUs, yes, it's necessary for Eyefinity, but not necessarily for all games. And this isn't a game, but this is just more of an apples to apples comparison since I'm testing the same card against the same card, just, whatever. yeah, so there you go. Theory was definitely right. So Eyefinity, here's my settings, and it actually scaled significantly. So let me write this down. So we got a 50.7 and a score of 1276. So let's take a look. You know, let me exit out of this so it doesn't sound like a leaf blower in the background. This was with 3 cards, by the way, if I didn't mention that. So, let's take a look at the graph. So at 1080p on Valley, we went from 49 FPS, which is very acceptable, to 68, which scaled a little bit, and then it actually did worse with 3 cards. 1080p on Haven, we went from 37 to 79, which I'm still scratching my head about. That's stupidly, that's more than 100% scale, I think. Oh, no, it's not. It's around 100, actually, so 40. It's about 100% scale. And then the 109, so this scaled a lot better than Valley did. Valley's still in 1.0, Haven's in its 4.0. Now if we go to a higher resolution, you can see at 5760 by 1200, we went from 19 FPS to 32, which is a huge step up, and when you're down at those low frame rates, to 32.6. So it did not scale with 3 cards again. Valley does not scale after 2 cards. On Haven, it scaled a lot, so it went from 19.2, basically the same thing, to 34.9, and then 50.7. So Valley would have been playable if it was a game at 5760 by 1600 ultra moderate tessellation, 2 times anti-aliasing. These are 2 times anti-aliasing and these are 4 times. So yeah, that's what I got. So the question that I was trying to answer is 3 cards necessary? For 1080p, no. You are going to need 2 cards at max. And these are benchmarks, and these are way more demanding than any game out there. I know that for a fact. Battlefield 3 Ultra with 4 times anti-aliasing at 5760 by 1600, I get around 130 FPS with 3 cards. So I could have got done with 2 cards, but I wanted 3 cards because I wanted 3 cards. And, you know, it's better future-proofing, blah, blah, blah. I don't have any reason. I just like to spend money on computer parts. For 1080p, you do not need 3 cards. But for something like a setup like this, or even 2.5K monitors like this, yes, you're going to need 3 cards. A 4K, you might even need 2 or 3 cards. You're not going to be doing 4K Eyefinity anytime soon. The graphics cards are just not powerful enough, not even with Titans. You know, Titans are, I know they're not the most powerful, but they have the biggest frame buffer, and 4K is a stupid resolution to run in Eyefinity. So, do you need 3 cards for 5760 by 1200? Possibly. So, yeah. The conclusion is, I need 3 cards, yes and no. So, yeah. Oh, if you're wondering why there's a gap there, it's because I have my wireless card, and if I would have put the card 1-up slot, then it would have been blocked, and then I couldn't have had it. So, yeah. Oh, and this is running off of an 850 watt power supply. Don't know how I did it. It pulls about 850 from the wall. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Comment, rate, subscribe. And I will be doing other kind of weird benchmarks like this in the future. And yeah, you guys have a great day.